would be welcomed by people listening, and it's interesting because um, when I showed it to a few people and I was like, "What do you think?" They were like, "This is one of my favorite songs on the album. You have to make it. You have to have it on the album." And
Yeah, yeah.
the idea behind making this song was, I mean, I had a lot of emotions that I wanted um, to let out in a playful way, like you said.
This is Ryan with Ethereal Metal, and I'm going to be hanging out with Melissa Bonny today, the voice behind Ad Infinitum, co-founder of Dark Side of the Moon, and has also worked with Kamelot and Feuerschwanz and others. We're going to be diving into her boldest and most personal project yet, her solo album coming out on January 23rd, Cherry Red Apocalypse. Melissa, thank you so much for taking the time to chat.
Hi, thank you for having me.
How have you been?
Pretty good, pretty busy. We just came back
Yeah, I
from
can imagine.
the last tour of the year with that Infinitum. We had our first headline tour, so that was pretty intense.
Yeah,
And now
yeah.
home. And you, how are you?
Awesome. Very cool. Good, good, good. All right, so let's start with something really important. If Cherry Red Apocalypse were a cocktail, what three
Oh,
ingredients, real
oh.
or totally made up, would go into it? And who among your musician circle would be bartender mixing it?
Okay. Without an hesitation, Corby would be mixing it because he's the one making the drinks on tour.
Nice,
And
nice.
it would be probably some gin with some cherry tonic and these little what is the name of those little cherries that you have sometimes in on desserts?
Oh,
Uh
the maraschino cherry.
yeah, exactly. This. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Very cool. Nice. You've built entire worlds with Ad Infinitum, Dark Side of the Moon, and as I mentioned, you've worked with bands like Feuerschwanz and Kamelot. Cherry Red Apocalypse, though, feels completely personal. When did you realize that this had to be a solo album? And how did you know it needed to sound the way that it does?
Um, so I was writing a lot of music during the pandemic and the years that followed, and some of it it would not fit with any of my bands. Um,
Mm,
and the thing is, I love music in general. I'm not only a metal fan. I really love music, and when I listen to, for example, Paramore, I'm like, oh, I would love to sing a song like
yeah.
Misery Business on stage or
Misery Business? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I was like, you know what? I kind of want to have a set of songs that are non-metal, but that are mine, and to create something that nobody expects, where I don't need to fit any kind of um, trajectory that, for example, my band is on or one of my band is on. So yeah, that was
Sure.
the opportunity to be completely free.
Nice. Very cool. And your voice and the album sound are completely versatile, blending metal, pop, rock, even some alternative textures. Was there a track where you felt the most creative freedom or broke a rule that you'd followed for years?
I would say maybe highs and lows. I felt like this was the one where I had no intention whatsoever to have any sort of commercial appeal to it. I was just like, this is the most heartfelt song. And um, I guess that, I was like, oh, this is probably going to be an album track, but that probably will touch people who will dive into the album and really pay attention to all the tracks.
Nice. Nice. And the album swings between rebellion, fire, some raw vulnerability. Looking back, which track was the most difficult to write emotionally? And what did that teach you about yourself?
Oh, I think it was Mama Let Me Go, because it's a
I wanted to
very,
ask about that. Yeah.
yeah, it's a very personal song. It's a song that I wrote for my parents, and well, it was difficult for many reasons. The first reason was musically, the direction is something very different than the rest of the album. Actually, when we were in the studio for the drum recordings, Jacob was like, you know what? I think we need another drum kit for that one song because it has
Yeah.
this kind of Fleetwood Mac type of vibe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we kept it for last, and it was also interesting to work on the structure and when, like, especially with the drums, to know exactly, because every hit is important, sort of, and the energy of the song just changes in a way that needs to be well thought. So that was the first challenge. We did it last, and then also the fact that there's some French lyrics. I've never
You're right.
recorded
Yeah.
anything in French, like professionally, or written anything in French. And to me, I needed to do it in a way that sounds um, flawless and natural, even though I had never done it before. But it's my mother language, so I kind of felt like I should be able to do it, but it's very, very difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's awesome. Yeah, so that was one of the big songs I wanted to ask about in a few minutes. But the three singles I wanted to touch on really quick: I'm a Monster, Snakebite featuring Yu Umehara, and Snow on Mars give fans a really solid glimpse about what to expect.
Thanks.
But there are some surprises along the way. Can you talk about what these singles reveal and whether other tracks might be singles before the release? And
Yeah.
also, what was it like collaborating with you as well?
Uh-huh. Um, so those tracks, I felt like releasing I'm a Monster and Snakebite first because those are, let's say, the most metal tracks, and I wanted to start with something that people are familiar with, like people who have been
Sure.
following my bands, and um, I didn't want to scare anyone. And then I went on with Snow on Mars, which is already very different. Um, to kind of tell people, okay, that's not, you're not getting only metal.
Right,
um,
exactly. Yeah.
and collaborating with you was really, really nice, and she was actually very helpful with translating the ideas that I had for the lyrics for her parts into something that not only makes sense in Japanese but also rhythmically. I had very specific wishes so that it would
Yeah.
yeah, flow in a certain way. And so it's very different the way you speak and sing Japanese, and also the way you construct songs. So we went back and forth with some different ideas for the lyrics that she sent me, and then she was recording some demos, and then I was like, okay, this is cool. I want this a little bit more like that. And I actually recorded a little demo in Japanese, and I was like, can you do this? She was like, oh, yeah, Japanese is good. I was
Oh,
like,
that's so cool.
stop.
Nice.
So that was really fun, and she's very sweet. And then
Really
she
cool.
recorded also the for the video, and I'm super, super grateful that she accepted the challenge.
That's awesome. Very cool. And I also wanted to mention about Crescent Moon Interlude as well, featuring spoken word guest vocals from Adrienne Cowan of Seven Spires and Fabienne Erni. It touches on identity, taking leaps beyond who we think we are, and kind of embracing a chaotic but beautiful evolution, as it says in the words.
Yeah.
What does this song mean to you personally, and what did having Fabienne and Adrienne loan their voices add to it?
So I wanted to have an interlude that is a little bit, a breather for the album, that is a bit different rather than having song, 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 song. Um,
Yeah.
and and I I thought, like, I had this interlude in mind that I had heard on an album that I love, which was a little bit in that style without the music behind. And I
Mm,
thought, you
yeah.
know what? The three of us have kind of a similar um, journey. The taking the risk to be professional musicians, touring,
Yeah.
pouring our heart into what we're doing, and really like the 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 how to say, what's the word, not consecrating, um what's the word, in not investing all your time, and but you know what I mean, like giving
Yeah.
everything for
Yeah.
the art. I cannot find the word.
No,
um,
no, it's okay. I know what you're saying though.
okay. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
and so I felt like it would make so much sense to have this interlude as a conversation about the art that we chose to dedication. Oh my God, to
uh-huh,
dedicate our life to.
yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah, and that was meant to be an introduction to the track Spellbound, which comes right after. You can already
yeah,
hear some music introducing it. Um,
yep.
and yeah, that was the goal, and also because that's kind of the vibe of Spellbound.
Very cool. And then Mama Let Me Go, I wanted to touch on as well. Probably for me, one of the album's most emotional turning points. Um, it carries this powerful sense of, kind of like it says, a little runaway thinking about home, torn between leaving, growing, and still longing for connection. What was the emotional journey behind writing this track? And what do you hope listeners will feel when they first hear it?
Um, I think to me the emotional journey was um, this vivid um, memory of the moment when I left home, like left Switzerland. My parents were standing on the doorstep and waving, and I had packed my car to the max.
Oh,
I
yeah.
first went to Austria for a few months and then to Denmark. And so I was about to drive a few hours to Austria from Switzerland. And I was saying goodbye to them, and it was such an emotional moment because you don't go back
Sure.
every weekend. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was this moment where I really made the decision. I had left my steady job. I was working in the business school. I had a very like everything my parents wanted from me, kind of
Yeah.
secured position in a good company. And I was like, no, this is not for me. This is not making me happy. Actually, it was making me quite the opposite. So
Oh,
my
wow.
parents were
Yeah.
very supportive. They at first they were like, are you sure? Are you really sure you want to leave that job? And I was like, yeah, I'm not happy. And so that's the kind of the vibe of this song. It's this decision and this moment where that there's a lot of of sadness, but also of happiness to make this decision, and the
Yeah.
support of my parents. Yeah,
I think having that support also is always key for that.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, for
absolutely.
sure.
And
No,
I
that's
think that
great.
a lot of people can relate to this feeling of leaving home, because a lot of people decided to take their own leap and go
Yeah.
somewhere else to do something with their life. Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like if you have a dream and it's something that is what you're meant to do, you have to just take that leap, like you said. Yeah,
yeah.
very cool. I also wanted to chat about the song "I Don't Like You." Musically, has like this defiant, very playful energy. Kind of reminds me of like the '90s pop rock, No Doubt's "Just a Girl."
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
uh,
interesting.
yeah. But with your modern, heavier style, how did you approach blending that throwback attitude with your current sound?
That's a good question, because this is a song that almost didn't make it on the album because I was very,
Oh,
very
really?
concerned of how it would be welcomed by people listening. And and it's interesting because um, when I showed it to a few people and I was like, "What do you think?" They were like, "This is one of my favorite songs on the album. You have to make it. You have to have it on the album." And
Yeah, yeah,
the idea behind making this song was, I mean, I had a lot of emotions that I wanted um, to let out in a playful way, like you said. And
yeah,
um, the inspiration behind it was the After Laughter era of Paramore, which is kind of speaking of big emotions, but in a way that is joyful. Like the music is very joyful, but the texts are very
yeah.
serious and very, very heartfelt. So that was my inspiration.
Cool. Very nice. And you've also worked with an incredible lineup of guest musicians and producers. Was there a moment where a collaboration or a production choice completely changed the song's emotional or musical direction?
Hmm. Well, completely changed. I don't think so, because everything, we went back and forth with. demos, and then usually the creation happened was I created my demos, and I was working with Morten who recorded the drums.
Yeah.
We worked on the songs. He spent a lot of time, thinking about each part, each drum fill, each like everything to make it very
Uh-huh.
very nice. So he spent a lot of time in
Nice.
the studio. Then we worked with Vikram, who did the first and production, like transforming. For example, I had some guitars which are very basic. He rewrote the guitars in the way that suits the each song. He added some samples. He did some production, like for example, this part we could shorten, etc. But I don't think that a song completely changed, because we really had this teamwork where we were exchanging ideas and then back and forth.
Nice.
And then Jacob was involved as well after, and then Corby was involved, and then guest musicians made, also brought their own skills and experience. And so of course there were some moments that were good surprises. Every time I received the tracks with the like from a guest musician, it was always a nice surprise to see the track evolve.
All right, so I wanted to also check in about the visuals for the album as well. Very important for this era. With the artwork and upcoming videos that are out already, what emotions or energy did you want people to feel the moment they connected with the album?
Through the artworks, I wanted to show the different sides of the album. There's the rock outfits, black. There's some touches of leather and of stuff like different textures, which are the more rock side of it, inside of a very organic and natural landscape with the flowers, with the tree and everything. I really wanted to have this duality to show that it's gonna be both, not electric, but how to say, like the metal, the rock, and so on, and the more organic sounds. That there's a mix of all of this, and this is also
nice.
Kind of represents how I am as well.
How you are as a person. Yeah.
Cool.
And for me, every album marks a personal chapter. During the creation of Cherry Red Apocalypse, was there a lyric, musical idea, or even a moment in the process that felt like a turning point in your growth, either as an artist or as a person individually?
Yeah, actually, I think that one thing that really I realized while writing the album that I was growing as a songwriter, that I was working on my skills, not only as a vocalist but also with all the rest, and picking up the guitar to record some parts so I could make the job easier afterwards for whoever would actually record the guitars, and making the demos a little bit more not final but advanced, and by doing that I feel like I also spent more time in reworking some parts and trying different things, and I spent a lot of time. Like, if I really count from when I started to when I ended, the first songs were created in January 2023, the first songs that actually made it on the album, and the last songs were created in, I think I finished actually finished the last song during the tour we had this year in February. So
nice.
It was a long process, with the most of it being done in November, December last year. And I think the fact that I had the most of the responsibility on my shoulders versus when I'm writing with bands gave me a positive kick in the butt, to step up my game.
Yeah. Cool. And also being the face, voice, and emotional center of a solo project can be empowering, but also terrifying at the same time. Looking back at the creation of Cherry Red Apocalypse, what's the biggest lesson that you're taking away with you? And what do you hope fans ultimately feel when they experience the album from front to end?
That's a good question. I'm not sure I have an answer like this. I mean, it was the whole process was a bit of, both liberating to do it on my own terms and like independently and everything, but also a big pressure, because everything that is usually handled by the label when it comes to Ad Infinitum, A Dark Side of the Moon, was my responsibility. And I learned a lot about the process of how everything works, which I love, honestly, because I love to understand how everything works. Like I don't like to be like, oh, this is in the hands of someone else and I don't know, I like to understand the process of like how people work, like how to create a vinyl, how to distribute a CD, how it works to, like all these things. So I think I kind of moved a little bit away from your question, but that was
no, not really. No, that's good.
No.
Yeah.
That was the biggest beside the actual album, the biggest responsibility that I discovered.
Nice. And what is the biggest message that you hope fans would take away from the album start to finish as well?
I think it is, when you listen to this album, it's a journey. There are metal songs, there are songs that are more pop rock, there are songs that are more like, I don't even know really. For example, a song like Highs and Lows, how would you call it? Maybe it's
I wouldn't, honestly.
Yeah,
like
right.
I find with music that you don't necessarily have to label something.
I like that.
Yeah.
And so what I hope is that people will listen to it from start to finish and not try to categorize it, but more understand the artistic vision behind it. Like this is this goes from this represents many emotions that I feel very, very strongly and that I needed to put into songs, and not necessarily to put it into a commercial metal song or something that would be on the radio or whatever. More like I need to create a song like this with this emotion, with these lyrics and so on, and that they will probably hopefully connect to it, because those are, we all experience similar situations, not exactly in the same way.
Exactly.
For example, when I feel a certain way, I like to have a certain song that makes me feel understood or heard, And when I want my mind to be suddenly changed because I'm a little bit sad and I want to be, ready for, I don't know, the gym or whatever, I will put a certain song on, and I want to have also those songs on the album that motivate people, that empower them, etc. So I just hope that people will resonate with the whole journey.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have one final question for you, kind of just a fun one. If you were to pick only 4 emojis to picture the album Cherry Red Apocalypse, what would they be?
Okay, so the cherry.
Yeah.
The fire.
Okay.
The explosion.
Okay.
The black heart. And the little Zen yoga.
Yeah. I know which one you're talking about. Yeah. Awesome. Very cool. All right, that's awesome. Yeah. Melissa, thank you so much again for sharing these stories and insights. It's really cool to get a closer look at the album and the heart behind it. With the album releasing January 23rd, I know fans are going to be blown away by the vision, the voice, and the emotional impact and journey poured into every track. We can't wait for the world to experience it. Melissa, thank you again.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It was really nice to talk to you.
You too.
From the stars, lift me up or bring me down, 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 down. Did we run into